Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to yet another game. This game is between Roof, the Zug, and Satiini, the Terran. Actually, a pretty interesting game. It's going to be quite a lot of action-packed game. A lot of going back and forth between these two players. The start of the game is always pretty boring, which is usually pretty daunting for new players. They're like, I gotta do the same thing all over again. But actually, the start of the game is pretty determinant for the whole rest of the game. If you have your timing just perfectly, you're gonna be able to do a whole lot more than just, well, I'm just gonna build random stuff all over the place and see where I end up. Pros literally, they practice this literally hours and hours on end just to be able to do this just perfectly, build whichever they want, where they want it. There's really a whole lot happening over here. We have a 13 racks for Satiini going down, making a nice little wall up over here. We have a 14 pull for Roof going down. This is one of the most economical builds possible because you're not wasting any drones, and at the same time you're not delaying your spawning pool by a whole lot. Where the 13 rack and then going for gas is pretty standard these days for Terran. And be able to do quite a nice little amount of damage and pressure with it. Because as soon as the Terran scouts that the Zug is going for a first expand, he's probably still gonna bunker rush. Just making sure he does as much damage as possible. It's also what the drone scout here is for. It's gonna scout to see if there's anything coming around here for scouting. There's the SCV, which was coming down here. Scouted the first expand. And here's the first Marine going down. Now he can either build it back here, or he's gonna build it right over here. He's gonna build it right near the ramp. Gonna be able to shoot right at all the reinforcements coming down. Should be able to pull a couple of drones down here. I'm so blind I already missed those. Really just want to die. The Marine just survives, not for long. Circling. And down goes the SCV. Well, so far for the bunker rush, I will say that Roof actually managed to keep it off pretty nicely. Meantime, Terran build factory. Gonna be dropping down the starport probably as well. There it is. Nice wall off. So no Zuglings can run in and cause mayhem in there. Sneaky overlord trying to scout in. Not gonna happen. Roof is like, well, this is not really a good situation for me to be in. I'll just build myself a spine crawler for defense extra. So only took his first gas on his expansion. It was actually a fairly odd choice. Usually you take your first gas in your main, and he hasn't taken either gas there thus far. In fact, that's his first gas period, which is the first gas coming in right now. 2 Highlands don't be able to do massive damage if they get a few good shots off. Although the magic number for Red Flame Hellions is 3, not 2. 3 Red Flame Hellions can one-shot stuff. Can one-shot drones. Poor Overlord. My poor condolences to you. Meantime, you have an expansion, a starport, Tac Blab, and we have Banshees coming up. Banshees with Cloak. The Zerg really hasn't seen much happening thus far from the Terran, just a little bit of pressure poking up, poking down. So he's building an Evo chamber, which is going to give him access to the Spore Crawler, which also give him detection. Two queens, just chasing behind these two Hellions. Queens are quite fast as long as they're on creep. Not as fast as Hellions, but still quite fast. Slowly being whittled away, slowly and patiently. Oh, almost caught by those Zerglings. And in comes the Banshee. Banshee going cloak, but oh boy, you are in range of the Spore Crawler. Too bad for you. Throwing down a Hydra then. Two more Spore Crawlers. This is gonna prevent anything cloaked from sneaking up here, such as ghosts and all the stuff. Getting blocked in by queens, never nice. But hey, it works. Can show us creep spread out throughout the entire base. Meanwhile, Terran has taken his expansion as well. Actually, this becomes quite critical. Because as long as Terran is on equal basis with a Zerg player and he doesn't really overextend himself, he's gonna win. So really, the Zerg has to take himself a third base sometime. If he doesn't, well, he's gonna get screwed. Meanwhile, we have a Baneling Nest for roof going down. We're gonna give him a huge advantage over all the Marines. Two Banelings on those, and it's done. This is quite a few queens already. Another one popping out. So that's like 5 queens thus far. With creep spread being only not really exceptionally ordinary, out of the ordinary. No upgrades though still. Creep is already pulling back yet again. Scouting Zergling getting shot in the face by a siege tank. Really, that is quite a bit of overkill. Spire from Judas, maybe eventually Broadlords if the game lasts this long. Melee for the Zerglings. Yet another Evo chamber going down. And trying to whittle away the rocks so he can take his expansion eventually. Drop going down in the main. Doing quite a bit of damage. Poor queen. You are dead. And he loses no Zerglings, only takes a little bit of damage. Which is actually pretty good. Still Zerglings whittling away at the bottom. Getting Carapace, which is quite good against Marines. Yeah. Along with a detector, having Cloak isn't really all that good. You're still gonna die. You stupid Banshee. The queens here for infuse on these two. No queen for this one though. Except the 5 here. 4. And now only 3. So quite a bit of work on the creep spread, and this is actually a pretty impressive force that's coming up. Gonna be pretty tough to hold off. This is actually quite a waste. Really didn't need to lose those. Judas will have to do some perfectly good micro on this one. If he doesn't, well, it's gonna be gone. Marines poking down. Banshee almost getting killed. Never good. This is just some perfect micro almost by Satiini. Nice spread against the Banelings. More Banelings getting morphed. But we're getting cramped in this tiny little space over here. Queen can take some massive punches from 3 siege tanks, takes him 6 shots to kill it. Great as an opener. Nice epic spread here. Great marine spread. There's 32 Zerglings coming out, which is actually going to be quite helpful in this case. And he still has like 8 mutas left. He's going to be able to do quite a bit of damage if he pokes around. Well, actually I'm pretty amazed that there's just a single siege tank here with no air defense. If Roop were to push out with just the mutas, he could just easily take down the siege tank. Actually would like do a lot of damage. We have a planetary fortress going down near the gold. Because Satiini cannot spare his army to take down the rocks, he's just, well, I'll just build my base next to the gold then instead of on the gold base. Meanwhile, Zerg is still on his 2 bases, which means he's actually quite a bit behind in income. He really needs that extra base in this case. So. Yeah, Mutas for this amount of marines is not really a good option. A whole lot of Zerglings coming down here, killing all of the marines. Medivacs healed their hearted out, they barely have any energy left except this one. Actually, they did a pretty good job in this case, I would say. Although, probably Satiini could have saved them. 2 shots, 9 kills. I'd say that's a pretty good bet. Nice wall of 2 barracks and a factory. Gonna stop it from getting pushed down from behind. Just doing tiny pokes on it, tiny pokes. He's pretty much overextending himself. He really doesn't need to lose all of this. Well, the Zerglings are really being able to do massive damage over here. But the siege tank is just like, well, I'll clear stuff up, don't you worry. Maybe a little bit of friendly fire. Maybe my SCV lives with 1 HP, but that's okay. That's quite cool. Now, in the meantime, Roof has actually just finished his 2 upgrades, so he's actually going to be a little bit ahead. But then he realized, well, no, I'm not going to win this. There's just no way that I can win this. Well, the income tab should be pretty clear here. He was just so far behind in resources gathered that there was no way that he could actually just win it. So, GG.